All right, everyone, I have 11:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get going with the briefing. Considering all of the rain that we have out there right now, we're going to kind of focus the briefing a little bit more on what's going on over the next day or two. It still is a weekly briefing, and so we will still end up covering the entire 7-day period. Like I said, we'll just end up spending a little bit more time on what's going on right now. So a lot of this is part of a decision support briefing that we ended up sending out early this morning around sunrise. You can see some flooding, a flooding picture on the left. On the right-hand side was all of the flash flood watches that were in effect as of 5:45 this morning. The main points that we want to talk about are the river flooding and the flash flooding. Certainly, there is some minor flooding possible and is occurring on some mainstream rivers. For the most part, this is generally across the western Piedmont of North Carolina. That's where we've ended up seeing the most rain overall. That flooding will be starting now and will be continuing into the weekend. We also have flash flooding as a threat. Again, already showed you that flash flood watch. That's across much of North Carolina, across much of the state. It is a threat, and that threat should be coming to an end or at least diminishing by later on this evening. Overall, the summary of the greatest impacts, again, more limited when it comes to the river flooding. That flash flooding we have as an elevated risk, as that should end up covering a broader portion of the state. Today's excessive rainfall outlook, you can see that moderate area is contained up into Virginia. Most of our area is in the slight risk for flash flooding. And again, on that graphic on the right-hand side, you can end up seeing what that means. Scattered flash flooding is possible. It's pretty localized. Not going to end up seeing widespread flash flooding, but we are seeing some showers and occasional thunderstorms that could end up producing high rainfall rates of at least 1 inch per hour. And considering all the rain that we've ended up having previously in the last 3 days, that means that a lot of this rain is going to be runoff as soon as it ends up happening. And speaking of that rainfall that we ended up having over the last 72 hours, I'll leave this graphic up here for a minute just so you guys can take a look at it. I won't pull it off the screen right away. But if you end up taking a look out here by Greensboro, not sure if my mouse pointer shows up on here or not, but we have a couple of 6-inch rainfall reports over the last 3 days. Only an inch as we head out towards Rocky Mount. Only 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches down by Lumberton. Again, that's a relative only 1.5 inches. But again, as you can end up seeing, pretty much everybody. Let's ignore this 16.21. That's a bit of an outlier, and I don't believe that report. That should probably be a 1.62 is my guess, and a decimal point ended up getting misplaced. But again, as you can end up seeing, except for northeastern North Carolina, pretty much everybody has ended up seeing multiple inches of rain over the last 3 days. And how much more are we expecting? This was from 5 a.m. this morning, so a quarter of this time period has already gone through. And again, you can end up seeing anywhere in the yellow that's an inch, at least 1.5 inches that's expected to fall. And we are still expecting some more rain to continue into Friday itself, even if the flash flood watch at this point does not end up extending through past this evening. We are still expecting to see some more additional rain on Friday. Let me go through some of the latest hydrographs that we have for places that we're worried about river flooding. You can see the Haw River at Haw River. The forecast, you can end up seeing down here that the graph was created as of 10:04 a.m. So those were the forecasts that we had as of about an hour and a half ago, showing at the Haw River location approaching moderate flood stage. You can see the Haw River near Bynum approaching 13.7 feet, so staying firmly in that minor flood risk. You can see the Rocky River near Norwood. Again, that was at 27 feet as of 9:30 a.m. So that's 7 feet above flood stage. That is beginning to level off, but we're still expecting to see about another foot of rise on that. The Deep River near Moncure, let's see, that was just below action stage as of 8:45 a.m. Through the day today, that should end up rising into minor flood stage. As we take a look at the Cape Fear, 7.81 feet as of 9:15 a.m. That was forecasted to end up crossing into minor flood stage later on this afternoon into this evening and get slightly above flood stage. The Cape Fear River at Fayetteville will take definitely a longer amount of time. That is forecasted to end up getting into a minor flood stage, but it appears that that will not end up happening until at least tomorrow night, if not Saturday morning. And then looking at the Yadkin River at Yadkin College, again, this is another river that has not reached flood stage yet. However, it is projected to reach that sometime tonight into tomorrow morning, and then that would end up staying into flood at least into Saturday. Those are the latest forecasts that we have for those rivers. And again, our overall event summary, over the last 2 to 3 days, we've had 2 to 5 inches of rain, actually as much as 6 inches of rain. An additional 1 to 2 inches of rain with locally higher amounts is possible. That'll result in a continued threat of flash flooding. That resultant runoff could lead to minor flooding of rivers. And there is also a chance for a few strong to severe storms across southern portions of central North Carolina this afternoon and into Friday as well. Damaging thunderstorm wind gusts will be the primary threat with that. So that's our general focus on the flooding that's going on over the next 24 hours into the weekend. Now we'll kind of go back to our more typical weekly briefing slides. That dark green over today is again showing that we're expecting to see heavy rain today. As we take a look at the upper right-hand graphic, we can see that some thunderstorms may end up continuing into Saturday for the most part. We are not expecting severe weather on Saturday. And then as we look into early next week, in the middle of next week, we do end up seeing high pressure, but that doesn't mean that our forecast will be completely dry. Starting Sunday, we pretty much have a chance of thunderstorms in the Triad, and as you head farther west in the state each day, the slight chance of thunderstorms is generally between the Triad and the Triangle, with most locations east of the Triangle expected to remain dry in that forecast for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And our temperatures should get closer to normal. We've definitely been well below normal over the last couple of days with all of this rain and the upper level low that we've had. So normal is approximately 80 degrees and lows around 60 this time of year. Again, you can end up seeing the blues and the purples and even a little bit of reds as we look at today's accumulated precipitation forecast. We back off into the greens on Friday and then light green on Saturday, which, as you can see, that legend on the left-hand side, that's showing just probably anywhere from 1/100 of an inch of rain to maybe 1/10, an isolated total of 1/4 of an inch on Saturday. And then you can see for the most part, though we have that 30% chance of rain out by the Triad Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can see for the most part that we're not really expecting to see any accumulating rainfall overall, according to the Weather Prediction Center. And obviously that 7-day total is mainly going to be made up of the rainfall that we end up having today. I was talking about those severe weather outlooks that we're looking at. Not a high threat that we end up having over the area. We do have that marginal risk today, Thursday, generally south of Raleigh. The marginal risk expands across most of the state for Friday. And again, we're not really looking at any sort of a hail threat or a tornado threat. That would mostly be a wind threat. You can see on Saturday we're in the light green, which is just saying the general thunderstorm category, but we're not really expecting to see anything severe. And then the predictability and potential is too low as we end up going into next week. As we take a look at the extended forecast, the gray on the temperature probability shows that the Climate Prediction Center is predicting near normal temperatures in our week 2 forecast for May 28th through June 3rd. And there is a slight chance for above normal precipitation. Again, that's May 28th, next Thursday through June 3rd, the Wednesday after that. So as we end up looking at the summary for the week, lots of rain today, plus the marginal severe weather threat that lingers south of Raleigh today and across most of the area on Friday. Non-severe thunderstorms should end up lingering into Saturday. And then starting Sunday, we have just about a 30% chance of thunderstorms in the Triad each day, maybe about a 20% chance between the Triad and the Triangle. And we should be dry at this point east of the Triangle starting on Sunday. And we end up having those temperatures that return closer to normal. Again, that's about 80 degrees for high temperatures and lows around 60 degrees for this time of year.